Mask 1, Mask 2, Mask 3, Mask 4, up. Look about you, Tutty Common. Remember and recall Cully Keg. When visiting Dan Leary, try the corner house for thee. I'll give you credit for Simmons more, if you'll be limping, our 4 avunculists. And since 3 stories saw a telling was much too many, they maddened and they mogged, and they longed and they jowled, synopticked on the word till the Duke done it. Down. Like Deucalion the seagoer, when he bore down in his perry boat, he had raised a slide and shipped his orders and seized his pullets and primed their plumages. The Fionling and Doublet, the Dun and the Fire, and sending them one by other to fare for foam, he had behold the residuance of a delusion, the foggy dough still going strong, the old thalassocrats of invincible emperors, maskings of the water world facing one way to another way, and this way on that way, from several therefore dimensions, where the lightning leaps from the numberless, where cooled by cold breed lieth languid, the bounds wherein born our solid bodies, all atomed, atame, a rest, a point, that's all. But see what follows, wringlings upon wronglings, among incomputables, about an uncommutable, an angel prophetess, king courier of behests, the caliph in his halif skin, the iring in one, and the void's bubbly vodes, dodos, across the which the boomer mouths from their dupes were in envy and anonymously blowing great. Guns. Keep backwards, please, because there was no good a Gundy running up again, guns, and it was written up in big capital guns, saying never underrupt great grand Guster Foster's guns, and whatever one did they say, the fourlings that on no accounts were you not to guns, not to pad them behaunt in the fear, not to go Tonawata, and bungly well shoot the rising Gianawant, not to only be walking round Jerusalem, though, at the small hours about the market plots, smelling oaky bony, this little figgy and Iraqi balocki, this little pink into porker, but porker there too, to let the gentleman be destories out of the Monabella corporation live, his own left leave, cooler brown by perusal of the pet publicities, without invoking his alsos between, sick the Iraqi bone and suck the oaky ballock, and not to go be always hemmer and hummer, treeing ourselves up with one excite, but not to never be caving nicely, precisely, quicely, robustly, tenderly, unremarkably, forsakenly, haughtily, reputedly, firstly, somewhatly, yes, say nolly, about the back exits, never to weaken up in place of the broths, never to volus slep in the place of the poots, and other things never to ate the sour deans if they weren't having anything on their conscience, and when in zum slosh and never narks, cease till the finally ending was consummated by the completion of accomplishment, and thus within the tavern secret booth, the wise-eyed ones who sip the tested sooth bestir them, as the just has been to jab the punch of quorum on the mug of truth. Casey jowls, they're sudden in the secret. Casey jowls, they sure are wise. Casey jowls, the justice jobbers, for they'll find another faller if their rules won't rise. Woolly the whooper. There is to see squarest large face with the atlas jacket, bright browny eyes in blue satin shoeings, picky-booky nose over the Louisiana shirt, ruddy stackle hair besides a straw camel belt, namely Grigorovich, Leonokopoulos, Tarpanacci, and Dougal. And was they stairs all the time? Yea, but they was, enduring the games, enduring the studies, undaring the stories. And all Ned, only snug then and cosied after one percepted. Naught while tough Bettel outraged the waywards and mean signs of their hinterhand supplies demands, and be they gone to splain splication, that host that has one of the house, when back turns, when he face fronts none known, in the house is graced as guest. You bet they is, and knows well down. With, however, what sublation of compensation in the radification of interpretation by the by-boys, being they Mr. G.B.W. Ashburner, S. Bruno's Toboggan Drive, Mr. Fakesgood, Belchimers, Carriol and Crescent, Mr. I. Chataway, Hillygape, Poplar Park, Mr. Q.P. Deodonny, The View, Gazy Pier, Mr. T. Archdeacon, Multiple Lodge, Jiff Exby Road, Mr. W. K. Ferris Fender, Fert Wart, Woovle Doon Botham, on to whom, adding the tout, that pumped the stout, that linked the lank, that cold the sandy, that next doored the rotter, that rooked the rhymer, that lapped at the hoose, that Joax pilled. They had heard, or had heard said, or had heard said written. Fidelasat. That there first a Rudrick king come to an incorn, and the sight of that yard was a perchy pole with a louver gloovy on it. Last monarchs maketh man, when one shift winneth woman's. So how would it hum, who's son of a witch, if some of us was to start to stunt the story on? So many needles to punk out as many noodles ours company. The noddling all about it tutti a tempo, Ducamon's number 2, well, that the secretary bird, better known as Pandoria, Paula Booker, whom they thought was more like a Solicitor General, indiscriminately made belief, mid-author Sagastians from Shelm the Pellman, to write some words to send us about her chillikin puck, laughing that poor Beck would be the death of her. B. That well, that majesty, the postulate auditressy, when her daemons Agronian is always on the who goes there, hoping to Michael for the latter to turn up with a capital T before the ephemeral comes off without any much farther, which is parting parcel of the same Gumerel's postumage, it being look-wise on the whence blows weather helping mickle, so that the loiter end of that leader may twaddle out, after a capital lull with hopes soon to ear come prong. C. Becakes the goatsman on question, or whatever the hen the bumbler was, feeling not up to scratch bekicks of whatever the kidding's paining, and Popper meant for him thoroughly, ounced at a thorough love, true grieving through danger, as a nurse person to his minstress, devoused of them Mother Carey's chucklings, panter blanche and skittered his litters, like the cavalryman in Cobra Park for ungeborn Yankelmen, Jeremy Truvas, or keepers, any old how and any old then, and when around Dick's dirty dung bin, remarking scenically, with ladylike lassitude upon what he finally postscript. D. After it's so long till I thanked you about I do so much now, thank you so very much, as you introduced me to Fawkes. E. Will these remind to be sane? F. Full step alethiometry, or just zoot doen floon. Nut it out PBI on a massa for mancy knaves. But top. You were in the same boat of yourselves too, ghetto bodoff, or triumph plasurin, and you receptionated the most dislikeliest of millisks. Richard all flow outward, your drooping dunleavys, but dribble a drob went down your otto, meaning Kelly Grimes, Phelan, Molani, O'Brien, McAllister, Sealy, Coyle, Hands, Joins, Naylor, Trainer, Coursey de Coursey, and Gilligan Gull. Stunner of odd studs on blue bleeding bower house. What Sorerson's head surprises the stews out of Rumpublican oak with, well, we cannot say whom we are looking like through this now face. It is of noggins wild dusk the both sides of the seats of the big slaps of the bog chaps, of the Paula Bar, of the Maringar, of the Lachlan Gunland Ludder, of the Fief of the Fourth, of four-thumbed ship Lazoid. Bounce. It is Paulsine Stunter, the Suckerson boy, to pump the fire of the lewd into those souls of Borchies, have Sedovers, till fell they dead war, newt vindict, and real timey was rancing their smutsy floskins, no dunder collared for their poopishes are lull. Onum fear may noother end now, shattered up ship, brants, norma clandoil skins, chicken levers all azured for capolig gizzards, stole away their gluttony of stinks, portafilias and spiritus songsters, As these vitupertads, in his bosom he did strong holder, bush brows, nobly nape, swingly swanglers, sunken trunk, that from tin of his chicken hadded, runst slap, bottle slup, for him had heard from afar a piping, as of Dowaducci was a seagull's son, he cooed that loud, nor was he young, he could bad corn, nor was he grey like water parted from the sea. Ostia lifted it Ostia from the sea, away from the sea. Him. Here hasting he hymned. We remembered all the chubs, chips, chaffs, chucking pucks, and chainy chime bells that he had distributed in Port Pub Park, Pantry, and the Poultry House, while they, there, and others that were most emulously concerned to capturing the last drops of Surma down through their groves of blarneying. Ere the Saxon locked at the door, which he would shut in sure, and leave them to stour. For be all rules of sport 'tis right that youth be dowered to charm the night, whilst age is dumped to mind the day, when war parted from the sea. The humming it's coming in's way on's way, Fingul Makishmad, Obersum, Bergias, Benefice. He was bowing hem and scraping him in recalcitrantamont to the right about on these, probing a publicos, climatizing for an extension of his hostelry. With his charge hand bombing their ears, 'tis gentleman plays here. She had been going shooting of Almaynooth on a ways. You hear not Farewellan's rouster, a shuffle the wave they, from dancing tree to sudden stone. There's lads no lie would filch a crown to mull their sack and brew their tay, with wather barted from the sea. Lay along our windows, a silver boon on hooted to Rochelle Lane, and liberties those Mullingar minstrelses, a marshal sing part two nipped road, underwear perked on Holloway Hill, that poor man of Lyons, good Duke Wiltington, hug on come errand wards, had hearkened for to the bells' bows, and been cut a trot by the Moses. Now is it town again, Lonmere of Dublin, and of course the Toller plays the daughter of his eyes with her. Mokes the once, why do we aim like a post of poet apiece, while the dumb he shoots the shopper rope, and they all pour forth. Sans Butley Tuppet a Sawyer, the rouged engineered, a bartler of the Boyne, still O Benjamin livest, sometime Franklin to this city, whereas be granted him a pious, have supporters for his arms, Josiah Pipkin, Amour's love, Raoul Lefebvre, Blaise Tabutut, Jeremy Yop, Francis de Loomis, Hardy Smith and Sequin Pettit, followed by the Snug Saloon, Sainad of a Cafe Baranje, the Senec Tutors. Because they wanted to get out by the goatway afore the sheep was loosest throat, to which the Wobbleton Whiteleg welches cairly keckle, and save back to Brown Hazelwood from all the Dinas Doolins on the lobbyist banks of the Swen Soin, Swen Resnur turned out again, westing home by Danesby Common, and the only duoly throughly fairly after rainy draining, founty buckets chalking them up empty, till they caught the wind aboard, alley loafers passengeering, all the rockers on the roads and all the boots in the streets. Oh dear, a boy, lasty Lunsmin, hasty host for an inundation of murfication, and the lutification of our baludination. His blood struck, his drum is tore, for Spuds will keep the hatty war, and rolling clover on his clay, by water parted from the sea. Hooray, free rogue, Mount Tone till dew milled well, to Corey, Awen and Glowry, are now met by Browner boy, Fuenuan former, for a Lynchian parting of his burger bro. The Shanavan wacht, wanton Rory, batteries Dorans, and not whistling thief. O Rhino ran with the catch of a cunning leg, and nowhere a keener. The 40 olders were postutely at their wet's end in the marling waters, trying to hide, seek, because number 1 lived at Bothersby North, and he was trying to hide, seek, and number 2 digged up Poor's Court, through the trying to hide, seek, and number 3 he slept with Lily Treccles at the Eats, and he was trying to hide, seek, and the last with the sailor Lloyd, Dongy he was birthed on the Mohaboa to the west, and they were all trying to and baffling with the Walters of Oomsty Doomsty Walters of high sink. High, oh high, sink a sink. Waves. The gangsters strain and angers up as Hoisty rears the cannon cup, to speed the Borgers barg away, o'er water parted from the sea. Hawkest chiefest Ebly nuncies,